Hello, hello. This is the My Artifact episode number 3522. Today's date is August 6, 2025. It's been almost like night at. It's not night. It's a morning at 8:01 a.m. Right? Should we directly jump into the question? Right? Yeah. Let's go. We are jumping directly to the question. Alright. Yeah. Okay, so first of all, I am actually giving the test, a psychological test. Be specifically, I'm giving the test regarding about the test of aggressiveness in relationship by A. Asinger. Okay, yeah. So 10 questions are already I covered in last artifact episode. Let's cover in next 10 question. Let's go. Let's start the test. Okay, yeah. Question is, what would you say if the position you wanted was taken by your colleague? Why did I even spend my energy on this? Apparently, our boss like my colleague face better. Maybe I succeed next time. What would you choose? Maybe I succeed next time. Okay. There is some sort of reason that I didn't really promote it or things like that. Is because of some sort of reason. I have to be figure it out that reason, figure it out that problem, fix that problem, wait for another chance, and I will be kind of like a I will be succeed next time. Okay, having little bit patience is good, so I will choose this. How do you feel when you watch scary movie? Afraid, bored, satisfied? Afraid. I'm really afraid of scary movies. How would you feel if you were late for an important meeting due to traffic? Be nervous during the meeting. Try to indulge from your boss peers. Feel sorry. What would you do? Um. Well, I want to know what is actually meaning of this meaning. Okay, like try to indulge and boss peers and things like that. Let me. What exactly is this thing? अपने बॉस या सहकर्मियों से अनुग्रह प्राप्त करने का प्रयास करें. ओ अनुग्रह. Okay, yeah. Or feel sorry if I'm kind of like a somebody stuck in traffic and I cannot reach in the meeting. I would not gonna nervous during the meeting. I will not try to kind of like indulge from boss and peers and things like that. I would feel sorry. Yeah, I would feel a little bit of sorry. Yes. How do you behave in sports? Focus on winning. Appreciate the pleasure of feeling young and healthy. Get very angry if you fall to win. I am literally focused on winning. Okay, yeah. If I'm playing sports, I am focused on winning. Okay, yeah. Um, it's like basically I'm little bit of kind of like a competitiveness inside of me, and yeah, I'm literally focused on winning. Yeah. What would you what would you do if you were poorly served in a restaurant? Okay, poorly served means like that you went to the restaurant and the waiter and everything didn't really serve the well that they should supposed to be do. So what would you do? You would just take it, avoiding the scandal. You would call the waiter and make the complaint. You would complain to the restaurant owner. What would you do? If I went to restaurant and I didn't really get a good service, then I would probably call the manager and says that ki, sir, I didn't really get the service or things like that. One thing. Okay, yeah. Another thing is that ki, uh, the probably is this thing that ki, um, if I'm not really get that kind of like a sort of service that I'm kind of like a expected, then I don't know, like basically talk to the manager or talk to the things. It might be kind of like a simply very good reason. But I don't know, I just don't want to be kind of like a create any hassle or things or something like that. Like example, I I kind of like a give the order, but kind of like a they took so long for they kept me waiting for almost like a half an hour. So I'm kind of like a talk to the manager why my order didn't really get too much amount of time. Okay, yeah. If they have proper if they kind of like a give the proper answer and things like that, I would wait. But if the response from the manager or any other kind of like a something people who was actually working on there, they didn't really giving me the response that I'm kind of like expected, that I'm expecting, then probably I would leave that place. Okay, yeah, this is kind of like a sorry without any kind of like a scandal or things like that. I just leave that place because I didn't really get my food. I didn't really get like a, you are kind of like a simply wasting my time over here probably. Okay, yeah. Or basically is this thing when I'm kind of like asking you nicely regarding about why taking so much amount of time, then probably you would have to give the proper answer regarding about why is this thing. If you and your waiter and your manager or any other people who are kind of like a uh something like that, they didn't really talk nicely or they didn't really kind of like a something like they didn't really did anything at all, okay, they just ignore and things like that, then probably I make sure that I just have to get out from there. Okay, yeah, because I don't want to kind of like a simply kind of like a spend a time where I just kind of like a something like lose time. No, I don't want to kind of like a simply waste my time probably. Okay, yeah. So yeah, this is I would do. I would kind of like a simply just I would take it, like I would just kind of like a simply like somebody get off. Okay, I will not kind of like assembly anything at all. I would kind of like say that key, sir, I'm leaving, whatever the order that you put it, just cancel it, we are just going. Okay, and that's it. Okay, and if they say, sir, just keep waiting, just like we are no, don't, like I'm just waiting for almost like a half an hour and I don't really have any patience for wait another second, so I'm actually leaving. And sorry for all those things. Okay, and I'm actually giving little bit amount of money, get this get this $10 or $20 for this kind of like a somebody waiting things, and that's it. Okay, yeah, I would not kind of like a somebody, like I would just take it and I just kind of like a somebody avoiding the scandal. Okay, yeah, because like basically it's this thing, if you are running the kind of like a hotel restaurant, probably it's really essential to serve the proper food to the guest and things like that. Okay, yeah, because this is the only way that you are getting money and things and something like that. If I'm not getting that much thing, then probably it's try to get out from there. Probably this is the kind of like only best way to do that. So yeah, I would kind of like a take it and avoid the scandal probably. Yeah. How would you behave if your child were offended at school? Okay, yeah, you would talk to the teacher, you would talk to the parents, you would encourage your child to fight back. What would you do? That's a really good question. Okay, yeah. If something happened in school of my child's school, like basically my son is actually getting bullied in the school, what would I do? Would I talk to the teacher? No. Would I talk to the parents? No. Would you encourage to the child to the fight back? Also no. Then what would you do? I would kind of like a something like that key, these like experience are essential for human growth. Okay, yeah, bullied and things, these are kind of like a something very important factor in your life. Okay, yeah, it kind of like a something gives you some sort of purpose or gives you some sort of restriction. It kind of like impact you very very long period of time in your life, and sometimes that is really essential. Okay, yeah, because let me tell you one thing, that key, how much you protecting your child? Are you protecting your child for rest of the lifetime? No, not really. Okay, yeah. So probably is this thing na ki that particular child or your child should supposed to be know how to kind of like a win his fight, or how to kind of like a fight his own thing, how to figure it out by his own. You shouldn't supposed to be interfere with the, no, nothing really at all, probably. Unless in the kind of like in that particular bully, my child get hurt or kind of like a something like that ki broken bones or things or maybe something really very serious, then it would be kind of like a really essential so that I would interfere. But probably what would I supposed to do? Okay, I don't know, but I would kind of like a something let my child to fight back. Okay, yeah, that how like I would kind of like a teach him how do you supposed to do that, like basically if other kind of like a person is kind of like a bullying you, how would you supposed to interact, how do you supposed to give the this thing that thing. Probably. Okay, I would kind of like teach him that regarding about how he's supposed to fight back instead of talking to the parents and teacher. It's not really good thing. Okay, yeah. It's a kind of like something that you would encourage. Not encourage, but probably I would kind of like something teach it. Ki encourage means like that ki you are encouraging your child to kind of like somebody fight back. To kind of like when you encourage this thing, then probably this might be not good, because when your child is kind of like a fighting all the time, then probably your child will become kind of like a bullied person or bully person. Okay, yeah. So I would kind of like somebody teach him regarding about how to kind of like something like I would kind of like teach him regarding about how to fight back. Okay, yeah, to prevent yourself. Okay, probably this would I would do. Okay, yeah. Next, what kind of like a person do you think you are? Regular, confident, go-getter. Regular means like that a regular person. Okay, huh? Confident means like that you are confident. Go-getter means like that. What is actually go-getter? I don't know what is actually meaning of. Got it. What is go G-A-T-T-E-R? What is go-getter? Go-getter is a person who energetic ambitions and perspective pursuing your goal. Oh yeah. So what am I? Am I a regular person? I am not the regular person probably. Okay, yeah, because I am not regular person. I am confident. Yes, I'm being really confident. I am go getter. Go getter means like that key kind of like a something putting all the ambitions and goals and focus and everything regarding about achieving your goals and things or something like that. Which kind of like a person you are? I think I am confident plus go getter too. Okay, yeah, but I can't choose both, but I would probably choose go getter, like basically whatever the target that you have, just achieve that thing. Yeah, so probably I'm say I'm go getter. Yeah. What would you say to subordinate who bump into you start to apologize? Sorry, it's my fault. Don't worry about it. Can't you be more careful? Okay, yeah, okay. So what exactly is this thing? Subordinate. Okay, what exactly is this thing? Okay, now I understand. Okay, yeah. Imagine you are the chairman, okay, yeah, of the company, and you are kind of like only walking, and suddenly you bump into the someone employee and things like that. What would you do? Would you sorry, it's my fault, or would you say don't worry about it, or just like can't you be more careful? Like what would you say? I would say like don't worry about it. Like if someone is actually bump me, I was like yeah, don't worry. It's a fine. Yeah, it's thing. What if like you are actually have coffee in your hand, and when you bump, the coffee is actually spill entire on you? Then what would you do? I would say it is okay. Yeah, it's a kind of like a something. Don't worry about it. Yeah, probably it's a kind of like a something very nah. It's kind of like a something very it's accident, na. Okay, how do you supposed to blame someone else? No, so I'd say don't worry about it. It's fine. Okay, yeah. How would you react to newspaper article about cases of hooliganism about youth who hooliganism HOOLIGANISM. I am not really sure what is actually meaning of that. Let me translate what exactly is this thing. युवाओं में गुंडागर्दी के मामले के बारे में अखबार में छपे लेख पर आपकी क्या प्रतिक्रिया है? Oh, गुंडागर्दी. Okay, yeah. If the yeah. Um. Okay, so basically what is actually is this thing, the question is actually about that the some young people who are kind of like a simply doing little bit of something gundagardi, okay, or kind of like a something that ki became little bit of something like what's exactly word for gundagardi they mention is a hooliganism. I don't know, yeah, like a people like the like gangster, probably this is might be kind of like a only very a relevant term that most of people understand. If the young people are kind of like a doing little bit of gangster thing, then what would you do? Never will concentrate measure finally be taken. Corporate punishment must be used. You can't blame everything on young people. Educators are to blame too. What would you do? When will concentrate measure finally be taken? Uh okay, it's a really kind of like a complicated question. Okay, yeah, like the very complicated like a basically option are here. Okay, yeah. Uh, when will when will concentrate measure finally taken? I think I don't really understand. Is this kind of like a something? Probably is this thing. Okay, yeah. Let me kind of like a translate what is actually meaning of that. Then I would probably okay, yeah. आखिरी ठेस कदम तक कदम कब उठाए जाए, शारीरिक दंड का इस्तेमाल ज़रूर किया जाना चाहिए। अब आप हर चीज़ के लिए युवाओं को जिम्मेदार नहीं ठहरा सकते। शिक्षकों के शिक्षकों को ही जिम्मेदार ठहराना चाहिए। What would you choose? I would not choose first one. First one is a kind of like a something when will concentrate the measure finally be taken means like that आखिरी ठोस कदम कब उठाया जाए. ठोस कदम means like that कि how do we supposed to stop that gangsterism. Okay, yeah. Or corporal punishment must be used means like that कि use शारीरिक दंड, probably शारीरिक दंड or kind of like a something that कि like a police and things like that. Or like a basically you can't blame only for young people for doing such a thing. Probably you have to be kind of like a blame um, a, a blame a teacher who would kind of like a teach them regarding about this thing. But teacher is not the only kind of like a simply person that they do. Okay, gangster is a not kind of like a simply the person who is kind of like a teaching and kind of like a doing. No, it's not. Okay, yeah. Gangster, the people who are actually doing the gangster and things like that is because of the influence of the surrounding. Probably it's one of the most important thing. That's why the people are doing gangster and things like that. Okay, yeah. So if the young people are actually doing the little bit of gangster and things like that, would you do? What would you kind of like a somebody is this thing? I would kind of like a somebody choose second option that कि like choose first option that आखिरी ठोस कदम तक उठाया जाए means like that कि I would take all the kind of like a something possible way to stop the kind of like a something gangster and things like that. Okay, by using the police force and things and something like that. And after I capture all those people, I have to be kind of like a treat them regarding about how do we supposed to live the life in kind of like a normal way and things like that. Because I think most of the time people are actually doing the gangsterism is because of the influence and things like that. If we actually capture those gangster people and try to give the proper training regarding about the meaning of the life and things and something like that in the prison, then after they went out of the prison, then they will become kind of like a little bit better person probably. So I would kind of like a simply take the um, concrete measure to finally know, or maybe corporate punishment must be used. Corporal punishment must be used. I would choose corporal punishment must be used. Okay, yeah, because I think that now punishment would be really good. Okay, like basically I have to use all the police force to kind of like capture them, and then after that I will kind of like train them regarding about every possible way to make the better life. Okay, yeah. I can't blame the teacher and parents and people and things like that, because no, it's not okay, because gangster doesn't really get influence from the teacher and parents, they are actually get influence from the surrounding. Okay, yeah. So Teacher will not gonna tell them regarding about you should supposed to be become the gangster and things like that. Okay, so corporal punishment I must be gonna use. Okay, next. Imagine you are to be born again as an animal. Which animal would you prefer? Tiger or leopard? Domestic cat or bear? Okay, I would never really consider myself as a kind of like a some animal, or what kind of like a some animal do I want to become. But if I wanted to become the any kind of like a some animal, I would supposed to be became a bird. Okay, yeah, I wanted to fly. Instead of being a tiger and leopard and cat and bear, I would probably become like a bird kind of like I always love flying and things like that. So, but they don't really mention over here. Okay, but tiger is actually represent little bit of dominant. Cat became cute and bear became vulnerable. Okay, so what would you choose? I have only three choices over here, so I would choose to be a kind of like a something tiger, like a dominant and things like that. But cat is a kind of like a only really good, because cat is a kind of like a blend in every possible way. So I might be kind of like a somebody became a cat, a domestic cat. Um, I never really think about that, but I would choose to be a tiger. Yeah, I would choose to be a tiger and leopard probably. Yeah. Next. All right, my test is done. Okay, you are overly peaceful due to lack of self confidence in your strength and capabilities. This does not mean that you like a blade of grace or blade of grass are bending under any breeze. Nevertheless, more determination will not gonna hurt you. You are overly close off. This does not mean that outbreaks of aggression are not inherent in you, but you suppress them too carefully. Okay, it's my report. Oh my god. I never really understand. This is my report. Okay, yeah. But I wanted to understand this report as much as better well. So I will kind of like a simply go to ChatGPT and kind of like a simply explain what is actually meaning of that. Okay, yeah. It says describe this in simple language. Alright, yeah. So what does ChatGPT says? Okay, it's a loading. Okay, yeah, sure. Uh, you are very calm and peaceful person. I am, but this is the mostly because you don't believe much in your own strength. Ooh. Okay. I believe in my strength. I believe in my strength. Like it's not really that I don't really have a strength. I have a strength, but I use my strength to keep calm and peace, probably. Okay, next point. This doesn't mean you are weak or let everyone push you around, but you could see more determination. Okay, I'm not weak. Okay, yeah, and they didn't tell I'm not weak. Okay, yeah. And like basically, you are more determination regarding about making the world better place. Yeah, I would be. Yeah, third point, you also keep your feeling locked up too much. Okay, am I that particular person? Am I kind of like a locked up my feeling too much? Probably not, because like okay, like basically is this thing na ki the question that they ask, that this test is actually asking me bunch of questions, is kind of like a something that ki it's not the kind of like a somebody way that it determine the entire my personality probably, but regarding about I'm not actually lock up my feeling probably, but I think I am. I actually lock my feeling most of the time. Like basically in Artifact episode, this is the only way that I just express my feeling and things like that. But rest of the time, I'm just being really calm and things like that. Okay, yeah. So lock up my feeling too much. Yeah, I am kind of like a lock up my feeling too much. Yeah, that is not too much like a, but I kept locked my feeling I don't know. Yeah, I might agree with this thing. You don't often show anger. That is true. But you are holding inside too tightly. Oh my god. Do I had like I'm not actually holding my anger too tightly. Like whatever the anger do I have, I just release it. Okay, yeah, it's not really that. Yeah, like it's not really that I'm just holding my anger inside of me. Just sometimes I just release it when it necessary. I do release that thing. Okay, yeah, but probably I don't know, yeah, dude. It's like that, na ki, like everything, entire aggression inside of my mind, as I actually express everything in artifact episode, like a stuff that I'm kind of like a recording right now. Is I'm just express everything into this. So I don't know, but this is kind of like a really good test to kind of like only understand myself a little bit better regarding about this test. I feel really good to get all those information, and it's much more better way to kind of like somebody understand myself in. Yeah, probably it kind of like gives me all those possible thing that what am I person or what not. But this test is kind of like giving me a perspective regarding about who am I, which is good. All right, I complete the test of interpersonal relationship by Timothy Leary. I passed that test. I complete the diagnosis of state of aggression bus Durkee test. I passed that test too. I also gave the test of aggressiveness in relationship by A.S. Asinger. I passed that test too. There are multiple tests, by the way. The another test that I'm giving is the test of determine the level of empathy. Okay, yeah, which is really good. Yeah. So in kind of like a somebody next artifact episode, I will gonna continue this test. Okay, yeah. I wanted to know that ki what kind of like a person am I or not. Okay, yeah. Asking this kind of like a question and test is kind of like a clearing me that what kind of like a person am I or not. All right, this is it. I should supposed to be end here, and thank you.